Mayor, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Mayor, since Chris isn't here, you're going to be attending on behalf of him?
Mayor, can you hear me?
Oh, poopy. Oops, sorry.
Hear you now.
Mayor, since Chris isn't here, you're going to be attending on behalf of him? Oh, poopy. Oh. Oh, that's funny.
Yes, I can attend on behalf of
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
All right, it is exactly 10 o'clock, and so we'll commence our meeting and come to order. First order of business is our land acknowledgement. As we gather this morning, we acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater region and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all of the generations of Indigenous peoples who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Now I'd ask our councillors if there is any pecuniary interest in today's proceedings.
None.
Nothing.
The records show that there is no interest. All right, we'll go then to item number 4, which is our public meeting. And 4.1 is an application for consent. And I'll read this recommendation as a motion. Be it moved that the Committee of Adjustment for the Township of Whitewater Region approve a consent application file number D-10-289 for the property described as Ross 12, part of lots 7 and 8, Grant Settlement Road, subject to the conditions outlined in this report. Could I have a mover for this? It's been moved by Councillor White, seconder. Mayor Nicholson has seconded this motion. Planner, could you please outline the rationale for this recommendation, please?
Yes, through the chair, the present application was submitted by Corey Raditz for the property described as Ross Concession 12, part lots 7 and 8 on Grant Settlement Road. The proponent is seeking to create a new vacant lot for residential purposes with the frontage of approximately 75 meters, a depth of approximately 135 meters, and an approximate lot size of 1 hectare. The proposed retained lot is approximately 42 hectares in size with approximately 200 meters of frontage on Grant Settlement Road and a depth of approximately 745 meters. The subject property has had 3 previous severances in the past. The proposed severed lot is currently vacant and the retained lot is currently used for agricultural purposes. The proposed severance is not anticipated to have any impacts on the continued agricultural use of the retained portion of the property. The rear lot line abuts an easement for a road allowance between concession 12 and 13. The proposed severance is not expected to have any impact by on the easement. The provincial planning statement encourages residential development that builds upon rural character and leverages rural amenities and assets to support healthy, integrated, and viable rural areas. And it supports residential development, including lot creation where site conditions are appropriate. Section 4.1, subsection 8 of the provincial planning statement prohibits development or site alterations on lands adjacent to natural heritage features, including significant woodlots and valley lands, unless it has been demonstrated that there will be no negative impact on the features and or their ecological functions. The County of Renfrew official plan has the lands designated as rural and waterfront. The portion of the land where the proposed severance is located is entirely within the rural designation. The rural designation promotes limited low residential development via consent on relatively large lots, not less than 4,000 square meters, which this lot meets the size requirement. Section 2.2, subsection 8E and F of the official plan outlines that development in lands adjacent to significant woodlands and valley lands can be permitted if an environmental impact study is conducted, and said impact study demonstrates that the development will have no negative impacts on the natural features or ecological functions. The property owner has undertaken an EIS addressing the criteria outlined in the official plan and found that no adverse impacts are anticipated as a result of development. As a condition of consent, the property owner will be required to enter into a development agreement with the township so that the EIS recommendations can be enforced. The lands were subject to 3 previous consents as discussed above. Section 14.3, subsection 3 of the official plan specifies that the maximum number of new lots created from parcel is 3. However, subsection 4 allows an additional 2 consents to be considered subject to additional criteria. The previously created lots and the new proposed consent meet the criteria outlined in subsection 4th, and thus consideration of the 4th and 5th proposed consents can be brought forward, in this case just the 4th. Section 2.29 subsection D outlines that development may be permitted in wildland fired hazard areas subject to a risk assessment and implementation of mitigation measures. Upon assessment, the proposed lot was determined to be at high risk for wildland fire. Development can still proceed on these lands. However, the proponents will be required to identify measures that outline how the risk will be mitigated, and these measures will be enforced via a development agreement. The Township of Whitewater Region Zoning Bylaw zones the property as rural and waterfront vicinity. The proposed consent will be entirely within the rural zoning. The rural zoning allows for residential uses, including single detached dwellings, and the proposed lot meets the minimum lot size and frontage requirements of the zoning. Based upon compliance with the provincial planning statement, county official plan, and Township of Whitewater Region Zoning Bylaw, planning is recommending approval of the application at this time.
Thank you, Planner McKenzie. Now, I'll ask our clerk, Madam Clerk, is there anyone aside from our mayor online?
No one.
And there is no one in the gallery. Therefore, I would ask then, council members, do you have any comments about this application?
I have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to confirm that we hadn't received any comments from the public in writing with respect to this application.
Do we receive anything like that?
Correct. We have no comments received at all.
Okay, Planner McKenzie, looking at the map, the part that's not colored, am I understanding that's where the original 3 lots have been severed?
That is, I believe there were 2 previous consents, and then there's another consent on the other side of the lot that was done quite a while ago.
Okay. Okay, so the cleared area then, does that represent a lot?
Yes, that one is currently, I believe, a residential lot.
Okay, so, and then there's 2 more that were off this property, but not on this map.
Yes, it used to be, based on what I looked, it was a much larger parcel that has since been severed. And then those other lots that were severed from the larger parcel have some residential severances on them, which is where the 3 comes from. But on the lot as it exists now, there's just the 1 current severance and then the one that's being proposed now. But because it's from the original land holding, we have to go back to anything since 1971, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Qualifies.
Okay, it just wasn't clear from the map where the other severances were. But
Yeah,
okay,
I
that clears it
understand.
up.
It's yeah, it used to be much larger, so it's hard to capture the whole thing on the key map.
Understood, understood. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? It will be recorded that this motion was carried unanimously. Okay. Agenda item 4.2. Again, another application for consent. And there's a recommendation which I will read as a motion. Be it moved that the Committee of Adjustment for Township Whitewater Region approve consent applications file number D-10-288 and D-10-290 for the property described as Ross Concession 4 East, part of Lot 256B, Mineview Road, subject to the conditions outlined in this report. A mover, please. I can move that motion. So it's been moved by myself. And now, please, planner, could you just give us the rationale for this recommendation?
Through the chair, the present application was submitted by Simon Kasperzak, agent for Doreen and Andrea Brisebois, for the property described as Ross Concession 4, East Part Lot 22, 256B Mineview Road. The proponent is seeking to create a new residential lot. The proposed severed lot is approximately 1.05 hectares with a frontage of approximately 129.7 meters and a depth of approximately 93 meters. As part of the consent process, the previous consent on the property would remerge with the larger parcel. So on the key map, there's the highlighted yellow part and then a small square lot that was previously severed in the bottom corner, fronting on Mineview Road. That lot would be added back to that larger lot when this new consent was completed, and that would be achieved through a certificate of cancellation nullifying the original consent. As a result, the proposed retained lot in this case would be irregularly shaped and approximately 7.58 hectares with approximately 397 meters of frontage on Mineview Road and a depth of approximately 219 meters. Application D-10-290 is for a right-of-way easement on the proposed severed lands to allow shared access to the property. The subject property has had two previous severances. The proposed severed parcel contains a dwelling and storage shed, and the proposed retained parcel contains dwelling and storage sheds. The subject property is located in a mineral resource area. The provincial planning statement promotes residential development, including lot creation where site conditions are suitable and where it is building upon rural character, leveraging rural amenities and assets to support healthy, integrated, and viable rural areas. Section 4.4.2, subsection 1 of the provincial planning statement outlines that mineral mining operations and petroleum resource operations shall be identified and protected from development and activities that would preclude or hinder their expansion or continued use, or which would be incompatible for reasons of public health, public safety, or environmental impact. The subject lands are designated rural. The rural designation promotes limited low residential development via consent and encourages development take place on relatively large lots, not less than 4,000 square meters. The proposed lot in this case meets that lot size requirement. The subject lands are located in a magnesium mineral resource area. The official outlines the following requirements for development in mineral resource areas. Development on, abutting, or adjacent to lands affected by a mine hazard or former mineral mining operation may be permitted only if rehabilitation and other measures to address and mitigate known or suspected are underway or have been completed, where development is proposed within 1,000 meters of a mine hazard as identified by the Ministry of Northern Development and Mines. I believe they are currently known as the Ministry of Energy and Mines. Abandoned mine inventory system mapping, and as identified on Schedule B to this plan, the regional land use geologist responsible for the area or the mine rehabilitation section of the MNDM shall be contacted to determine the scope and terms of reference of any technical studies which may be required to address potential hazards. The applicant shall be responsible for ensuring that any hazards are mitigated to be consistent with the Mine Rehabilitation Code of Ontario, and that the property is safe for proposed development. All required studies shall be undertaken by an appropriately qualified person. In this case, the applicant has reached out to the Ministry of Energy and Mines and received the correspondence, which was included as attachments 2 and 3 of this report. The correspondence confirmed there are no mining claims and no Crown land available for staking within the area. The correspondence did confirm there are potential areas of interest within the vicinity of the proposed severance, however, did not know any required studies for the severance to go forward. The official plan outlines that if the resource is determined to be provincially significant, development activities which would preclude or hinder the establishment of new operations or resource access shall be discouraged. In this case, the properties on the structure are existing and no further construction is proposed at this time. So the resource impact would not be further impacted by this severance further than the extent that it already is by the existing structures. The property is zoned rural in the township zoning bylaw. The proposed lot meets the existing minimum lot size, frontage, and setback requirements of the rural zoning. Based upon the correspondence from the Ministry of Energy and Mines, which did not express any required studies or any objections to the development of the land from my reading of it, and the consistency with the provincial planning statement, County of Renfrew official plan, and the Township of Whitewater region zoning bylaw, planning is recommending approval of the consent applications at this time.
Okay. Now, there's no one in the gallery. Anybody online to speak to this?
I think Mr. Bell is online. Did you want to speak on this application, Mark?
I believe was for the other one potentially.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was on the Grant Settlement Road application. I was a little bit late getting on, so I'm not sure if you've already gone through that application.
So we did, it was passed, and we're on the second application now.
Yep, no, that's great. You can ignore my presence here. I'll get off. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any written concerns?
No, we received none.
Council, any comments about this application?
I have none.
Therefore, neither do I. Therefore, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of this motion. It will be recorded as unanimous, Madam Clerk. Okay. The last thing we need to deal with is the approval of minutes. Now, just to inform you, Mr. Mayor, we were not going to be able to approve one set of minutes because I wasn't at that meeting, but since you are in attendance, but the mayor wasn't either.
He was for the one that you didn't attend.
Okay.
So if we could, if Councillor White is in favor, I'll get her to move. We can get her to move both the minutes that way, because she
Yeah.
attended both of them, and then everybody can all in favor of them, and I'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay, with that clarification, and thank you, Madam Clerk, for that. If you are willing to move the approval of the minutes for both meetings of the Committee of Adjustment for November 20th and for September 25th, Councillor White, that would be great.
I will move them.
Therefore, I would ask if there are no comments, all those in favor? And it is unanimous. I therefore declare the meeting adjourned at 10:19. Thank you all very much.